if you're on the pro-Israel side, you really need to be honest with yourself and engage in some actual honest self-reflection and self-analysis. You really do. Because you're losing the argument. I mean, you're just losing it. You are. And I've never seen any side of any argument lose this much support this quickly. I can't think of any other example of something like this. And if you're on that side, you need to have the courage and humility to ask yourself what you're doing wrong. But that doesn't seem to happen.
It's laughable. You should laugh. You should laugh because these people cannot see how insufferable they are. They don't understand. They cannot comprehend that nobody likes them.
You know, I don't see a lot of self-reflection here. But instead what happens is that typically they'll do what the donors were doing to Charlie, apparently, scold and point fingers and throw the anti-Semitism charge around. And I mean, they'll do it to me because of what I'm saying right now. Right? This is going to get clipped and it's going to be, oh, see, he's woke, right? He's anti-Semitic. He's, that's going to happen. That's going to happen. And I'll tell you, the first major mistake you've made is that you push out your allies or your potential allies if they don't toe the line 100%. 100% perfect, clean record of being pro-Israel in every way, in all cases, all the time, always. Because listen, the pro-Israel side, as Charlie called it, has lost the majority of the American public. It doesn't have the left at all, which who cares? That's fine. But it also doesn't have a huge chunk of the right. And it wasn't always that way. It doesn't have the younger generation, at all. It doesn't have support globally. It's just failed to persuade the vast majority of people. That's the fact. That's the reality. And at some point, if you're on the pro-Israel side, you really need to be honest with yourself and engage in some actual honest self-reflection and self-analysis. You really do. Because you're losing the argument. I mean, you're just losing it. You are. And I've never seen any side of any argument lose this much support this quickly. I can't think of any other example of something like this. And if you're on that side, you need to have the courage and humility to ask yourself what you're doing wrong. Now, sure, when you are going out with a message and nobody is buying it, and even people who were buying it suddenly are not anymore. Now you could say, oh, well, it's everybody but me. It's all them. Everyone is against me and it's all their fault. And I'm not doing anything wrong. It's possible that's the case. In the whole history of the world, when people feel ganged up on and I'm not doing anything wrong and they're doing everything wrong. Yeah, on occasion that could be true. But most of the time in life, you got to look at common denominators. And most of the time in life, when you're going around and your message is just not resonating with anyone almost, you got to look at yourself. That's the case most of the time. But that doesn't seem to happen. I don't see a lot of self-reflection here. And there really should be, especially now. I mean, this should be the kind of thing. If you're on that side of the argument, and you see these text messages, it's the kind of thing that should make you sit back and go, wow. I mean, even Charlie was feeling that way. But instead what happens is that typically they'll do what the donors were doing to Charlie, apparently, scold and point fingers and throw the anti-Semitism charge around. And I mean, they'll do it to me because of what I'm saying right now, right? This is going to get clipped and it's going to be, oh, see, he's woke, right? He's anti-Semitic. He's, that's going to happen. That's going to happen. I will get rebuked even by some people who I would consider friends or at least friendly. So it's like you can just, it's like, it's going to happen. It will, and they won't be able to help themselves and they will do it. Even though everything I'm saying right now is just true. I'm giving you an analysis of the state of affairs and it's not any kind of, you don't have to be a genius to figure this out. If you did, I wouldn't have figured it out because I'm not a genius. But you can look around and see okay, clearly you're losing the argument. And if you're going to conduct any kind of honest inventory here, this is the first place you should start. And I'll tell you, the first major mistake you've made is that you push out your allies or your potential allies if they don't toe the line 100%. 100% perfect, clean record of being pro-Israel in every way, in all cases, all the time, always. If they fail that test, you push them out, you label them woke right, you label them anti-Semitic. And that's what Charlie experienced. He was very pro-Israel, but he also was friends with Tucker and wanted to have a conversation with Tucker, which also makes sense. He was, that's the right thing, by the way. It's not just that Charlie was perfectly justified and had every right to talk to whoever he wants and to platform whoever he wants. That, of course, is true. But he didn't just have the right to do it. He was right to do it. Yeah, if you're going to have a big event like America Fest, huge event, great event, I'll be at it this year. Tucker should be there. It would be absurd for him not to be there. But what Charlie experienced is that because of that, we're going to withdraw our money. We're going to take the funding away. And yeah, you have the right to do that. You have the right to take your money and do what you want with it. But this is the problem. Okay. This is why it doesn't work. It's not persuasive. People see that and they say, okay, well, you're just a bully and you won't, and you will not allow any conversation to happen at all. And I've encountered a version of this too many times. As everyone knows, everyone knows my position, and it hasn't changed. It's that I'm not pro or anti-Israel. I'm not pro or anti any foreign country. I'm very consistent about that. I don't care about any country but my own. That's just my opinion. That's my perspective. Might not be yours. You might feel that it's wrong. You might feel that it's, too simplistic. You might feel however you want to feel about it. I don't really care. That's just my perspective. It always has been. Always has been. My entire adult life, I'm very consistent about this. I don't want foreign aid to any country, including Israel. And I always call out when I feel the U.S. is getting involved in something that it shouldn't get involved in. And if they're getting involved in something, from my perspective, for the sake of Israel, and I don't think they should, I'll say that. I was against the Iran intervention. So I'll call that out. I'll also call out the Islamic invasion of the U.S. I spent several days just over the past couple of weeks talking about that. I did multiple shows just about the situation in Dearborn. I've talked about, many, many times. I've spent a lot of time on, importing, Somalis into places like Minnesota. So I'll talk about that too. So I think I'm pretty damn consistent in my own principles when it comes to this stuff. And you don't have to share those principles, but they're mine and I'm consistent about America first. I call out anything that I think is not America first. I also call out the Israel obsession on the other side, the anti-Israel side, the tendency to bring everything back to Israel all the time, even if it doesn't have anything to do with it. There's a tendency on that side to be Israel first from the other direction. I've made that point countless times on this show, on X, on every platform. Just being consistent, which means that if you're pro-Israel, you may not agree with some of my takes, but there's no reason why I should be your enemy, because you'll also agree with a lot of my other takes. And yet I've been labeled woke right, anti-Semitic. I just saw this today. I don't even know who it was, just a tweet that popped up. One of many. I see them all the time, but someone was, I was just catching some conversation. I wasn't even about me, but I was catching a stray. Someone said, Matt Walsh is constantly engaging in anti-Semitic tropes. And I see this all the time. It's like, what? What are you even talking about? But this is what they're talking about. Is just not towing the line 100%. And I don't toe any line. I mean, the only line I toe is my own line. I have my own line, I have my own line, the things that I care about, and that's what I toe. I don't toe any other lines. And like I said, that's going to happen in reaction to what I'm saying right now. And that's your problem. This all or nothing strategy. It's not working. It is failing utterly and totally. It just is. So that was my reaction to this news. Just being honest with you. I actually am genuinely surprised that Charlie had been pushed away from that side. And I know everybody now wants to wants to say about Charlie, oh, see, I knew all along. I knew. Well, I didn't know. Well, I don't know about this at all. I'm sincerely surprised. And that's my honest feeling. And to me, the takeaway here is that the side that Charlie himself identifies as the pro-Israel side, well, they managed to alienate and push away Charlie Kirk. And if you're on that side, you should really, really stop and think about that. You just should. Rather than screaming at me for telling you to stop and think about it, you should actually stop and think about it.
It's laughable. You should laugh. You should laugh because these people cannot see how insufferable they are. They don't understand. They cannot comprehend that nobody likes them. They're, like I said, what's really happened now is they just created their own echo chamber. They're all speaking to each other, signaling to each other, writing articles to each other.
And as we say all the time, folks, truth crashed to earth shall rise again.
I think this whole notion that you keep bringing back to of Jewish supremacy, which is interesting to me.
They feel that we think we're elitist, we think we're the chosen people, which, by the way, we are. We do think we're elitist. We are the chosen people.
Jews don't want to be held to a different standard than everybody else.
They think that we think only we are the children of God, and we do think that. And we're not embarrassed to say, only the Jewish people are the children of God. The nations of the world are not the children of God.
In terms of supremacy, which is such a loaded word. First of all, I don't think anybody's inherent identity or immutable characteristic makes them better than anyone else.
They feel that we are elitist, that we think of ourselves as better than them, which we do.
The word supremacy is what I'm really objecting to when you use that word, because it is such a loaded term. I think it's just a misnomer for the situation.
They're not God's children. They're God's creation.
We all grew up listening to the speeches that H-men gave to the German people and troops. Couldn't understand what they were saying, but boy, they sounded menacing. It just sounds evil. Well, now they've got AI that translated it into English. It talks about Christian values and moral integrity and how valuable women are to a society. It's not quite as bad as I thought it was. And then it talks about the media being so corrupt. It played a big part in the Germans having their culture stolen from them. Damn, these are things we worry about. And, I can't help but think we might have been on the damn wrong side of history.
You grew up wondering, like I did, how the fuck did Germans allow this to happen to that many people? We are watching it with you happen in real fucking time. This take is beyond embarrassing. It's disgusting and dangerous. Watching you people try and reconcile with the idea that you can't be wrong about anything, which means the other option must be true, which means that that guy had some good ideas.
Nobody has ever analyzed why the German nation that had more Nobel Prize winners and more famous researchers and scientists and was one of the best educated countries in Europe turn on the Jews. Why did these good Germans turn on the Jews, who had more Jews living amongst them than even percentage-wise living in the United States today? Why was that? Because they displayed the same voracious ethnocentrism, power-grabbing, influence-peddling, buying of politicians, dominating of the public airwaves and the public media in Germany and so on, that they display in the United States. And I'm not much of a prophet, but that much I can say based on history, that in the United States, mark my word, you will have Weimar conditions and you'll have solutions to the Weimar conditions. It'll be very similar to what happened in Germany. The United States is heading in the same direction. And there's only one difference. In the United States, there are enough guns out in the street and enough lawlessness in the public and a revolutionary spirit that founded that republic. This is not Germany, where the only people that had guns were hunters and soldiers and policemen. The United States is armed to the teeth. They have the spirit of revolution in their blood. They are heroes, are people who turn against what they call tyranny and foreign occupiers and so on.